All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. You're welcome to the session on student perspectives on engaging with society and reconstruction. And I'd want to welcome every one of you here and also those who are joining us online. It's my understanding that we're broadcasting this live and other people are joining us online. We're meeting under the broader context of the MCU anniversary 2023, which is under the theme Universities and the Reconstruction of Societies, the role of research and education. For this particular session, we would be interested in understanding how students are involved in the reconstruction of societies, and we'll also be interested in understanding how students can engage with society as part of their programs on university campuses. I would want to start by introducing myself. My name is Peter Kwasi Kodjie. I'm the Secretary General of the All Africa Students Union, and I'm also the Governing Council member for the GSF on the Magna Carta Observatory. I'm here with Julia. She is also the research assistant to the MCU, and she would be the rapporteur for the session today. We do know that the Magna Carta Universitatum has always emphasized the role that students play in universities. The observatory has consistently integrated students into the governing body and also in its activities. In April, the Magna Carta Observatory sought to do something very new. So it instituted what we have come to know as the essay competition of 2023. And this was done in collaboration with the Global Student Forum. What the essay did was to try to understand, at least from the point of view of the students themselves, what role it is that they could play in terms of influencing universities in the way that they can play a role to affect the societies they are in. The essay competition was under the theme, how might students exercise more influence in enabling their universities to make a more effective contribution to society. What we're going to do today will be hinged on a couple of questions that we have put together. Before that, I would also want to say that the essay competitions that was made, we had over 100 entries that came in, and today I'm very happy to say that we have 5 of those that came top in the essay competition. And what they will do is that they will share with us what works they presented and to what extent they imagine that their work has an impact on what it is that we're discussing here. And so you would realize that their works would critique the gaps that they found and the actionable solutions that they have proposed in their works. So for the purposes of those who are joining online, and also for those of us here who may want to ask questions during the session, I would walk us through 3 of the guiding questions that we imagine would underpin the conversations that we're going to have. What it also does is to let us prompt our minds to listen to them in the essays and then itemize some of the questions that we may want to ask, obviously contingent on the 3 questions that I'm going to share with us. So the number 1 question that we're hoping would stand out when the conversation is over today is, in what ways do you believe that universities currently contribute to society? So I'll take it again. In what ways do you believe universities currently contribute to society? And where do you see any areas for improvement? So that's the first question, that as they read their essays, in our mind, we're telling ourselves that this is a question that we would want to answer at the end of the day. The second question that we're hoping we can answer at the end of the day would be, how can students, both individually and collectively, influence universities to better align with societal needs and expectations? Then the third one, which would be the last of the questions, would be, what innovative methods or approaches have you encountered or proposed that students can adopt to enable universities to engage effectively with society? And among the proposals that will come up, we would hope that we'll be able to understand which of the methods or the approaches are the most effective. So on these three paradigms, we're hoping that we'll be able to tease out from the various essays that would be shared with us. So having done that, I have the privilege to introduce the 5 of the winners for this year's Magna Carta Observatory Essay Competition. And I'm going to just introduce them by their first names, and they themselves will do us the honor of introducing us by mentioning their full names, the universities they belong to, and the countries they are coming from. And so first is Ernesto, who is from Italy, and Pamela from the Philippines, and Jason also from the Philippines, and Diana from Ukraine, and Christina from Jamaica. So 5 of you, thank you very much for making it, and congratulations for coming up on top. So I'm going to allow each one of you to, like I've said, introduce yourselves, so your full name, your university, and your country. And once you've done that, then I would allow you to go through and then read the essay that you submitted. But before you read your essay, in addition to doing that, I would want you to answer the question about what triggered you to want to enter the competition. So just your thoughts about why, when you saw the advert run, why did you think that it was important to enter a competition like that? And so once you do that, then you can take the opportunity to now read to us what your thoughts are and what you've shared to us. So maybe in no particular order, or maybe from Christina, you can just, you just mention your full name, your university, and your country. We'll go that way before we now come to take the order that I'd already shared with you. Perfect. So just by way of introducing yourself, so your full name, your university, and your country.
Okay. Good day, everyone. I'm Christina Williams. I am from a small, beautiful, and powerful island in the Caribbean, Jamaica. I am currently a student in Norman Manley Law School, also based in Jamaica. And I decided to enter the essay competition because I thought that the topic was very relevant. We are currently in a world where we need more young people to become problem solvers and creative thinkers, and I think that higher education institutions act as a training ground, an environment to help create and curate this experience for these young people. And so as a student leader, I have been a student leader since I've been 11 years of age. I've always championed the importance of student development and the importance of students through their education institutions being given the opportunity to learn as well as to contribute to society in a meaningful way. So we don't know a lot about the Magna Carta in my country or in my region, but nonetheless, I saw the opportunity as a way to connect with the institution here, but even larger than that, to also add a unique perspective from that side of the world as we come together to, I would say, share best practices and also learn from each other.
Adriana Stefanova Slobodian. I'm from Ukraine, study in Faculty of Preschool and Special Education of Pavlo Tychyna Women's State Pedagogical University. I don't...
yeah, that's fine.
I don't speak English well now. Present essay? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ukraine education.
After the
We'll introduce ourselves first, and then we come and take in the order that. So yeah. So
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Ernesto Fabbri from the University of Bologna. I'm about to graduate in management into the fashion and luxury field. And I discovered the opportunity to participate into the essay competition because my university is a big proponent of the Magna Carta Universitatum, and also it's located in Bologna, the headquarters of it. So obviously I took the chance, as many of my colleagues, to speak my mind about what is happening and what can happen. I also had the opportunity to study from the bachelor to the master degree in the University of Bologna, which is a really nice and well organized university. So also in writing my essay, I took inspiration of what is already happening in my university that I hope that is also part of everyone other's university, so they can take inspiration of what we are already doing and maybe put some practice also in other places that can be needed. Thank you very much.
So hi everyone. So hi also to the viewers. My name is Jason Pasol. I came from the small island in the Philippines, and currently I am studying as a PhD student in Wrocław University of Environmental and Life Science. I came first to know the informations regarding the essay competitions through our doctoral school. So they sent us these informations to apply for these competitions. So in my own perspective, why I applied for these competitions, because potentially I would like to influence what I experienced before and share to every inspiring international students to seek for opportunities, particularly on gaining a lot of information in education. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pamela Victoria Lira. I'm also from the Philippines in an island called Alang Leyte. Now, I'm a fresh graduate of geology from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, where I was also part of 4 student organizations. I served quite some time in the student council, and at the moment, right now, I am part of 2 youth networks and serving as the storytelling lead of the Youth Strike for Climate Philippines. Now, essentially because of my love for writing, I am a published author of journals, a children's storybook, and lots of essays. So that's how I came across through this competition. And it's also a great way to reflect on my experience in the various organizations that I came from and recommend how we can encourage our universities to essentially be more proactive into making students part of their decision-making bodies. So that's that.
all right. So thank you very much, and once again, congratulations. So we're going to ask that you share with us your essay competition that you submitted in terms of, while you do that, we would want you to highlight any of the key things that answer these questions and to dwell on them a bit, just so that we're able to tease out from the presentation. You would make some of the guidance for us to be able to get this. So I think like in the order that I'd said we'll do, so Ernesto, we're going to have to start with you. So please share with us.
Okay, thank you very much again. So I will going to share part of my essays. Some part I'm going to read it, and some part I'm going to collect what we have said that is like the most important and also vital part of it, because also the time is not infinite, so we are going to take a little step in it. So the title is Empowering Students to Enhance University Contribution to Society. Introduction. As a passionate student aiming to make a positive impact on the world, I deeply acknowledge the pivotal role that students occupy within the realms of higher education. The Magna Carta Universitatum, a venerable document, serves as encouragement illuminating the significance of students' engagement, highlighting their duties to actively address the ambitions and trials of our global society. The recent iteration of the MCU, endorsed and expanded in 2020, urges us to delve into the realms of possibility and explore how we, as students, can widely our influence to empower universities in making more profound and efficacious contribution to the world. In the forthcoming exposition, I intend to investigate the subject matter, examining the MCU principle, the structures governing the universities, evaluating the conduct of esteemed professors and administration, and closely scrutinize the strategies embraced by university and students themselves. My primarily objective is to find innovative approaches that will enable us as students to augment universities' interaction with the communities and effectuate tangible and meaningful societal transformation. So we are going into the body of my essay, starting from the first paragraph that is called Evaluating University Adherence to the MCU Principle. And in here, I will highlight the fact that it's very important to have in mind the vision of the MCU that can be put in every object of everyone's university, so that we can also bring and try to betterment our profound responsibility as students and also as a university institution for well-being and betterment of society and to create sustainable development. Also, it's very important the representation of the students within the university, within the government of the university, so we can bring our unique perspective and also have the chance to talk and sit at the decision-making tables, so we can be really represented during the decisions and foster a climate of collaboration, inclusivity, and shaped and shared purpose with all of us, the students and the administrative part of the university. Also, it's vital the role of professors and administration within translating the MCU principles in reality, because otherwise there will remain only principles, and the roles of professor and administration is to foster an ecosystem of culturally centered research, interdisciplinary collaboration, and social entrepreneurship to create a better space with open dialogues and mentorship support to empowering students to create and discover solution and new solution. Another part is obviously the fact that the university itself needs to analyze within the university and outside if they are going to follow the MCU vision, so that they can create and foster this environment where students can be curious and also active within the organization and within the university, obviously. The second part of my essay is called Empowering Students for Societal Impact. And this is, can explain itself, but there are many ways in which students can be part of the university and needs to be part of the university. First of all, obviously, is student unions, where we can create a fertile ground for raising our voices, concern, and create new solution and research for problems within our community of students. And then we need also these student unions representing ourselves into the university governments. So as I said, for have a better atmosphere and the fact that we can have a seat in the decision-making table and bodies, so we can have a real grip on what is happening at the university also at an administrative level. And then we can also dive into more specific ways in which we can be involved. First of all is obviously the activity during classes and create collaborative projects that are going to use our skills and knowledge for maybe real life and real problem of our community, or also via the internet to community worldwide, so we can spread what we have learned and really help people that need new solution. Maybe we can also have innovative ideas for that purposes. And also another engine is like protests. I don't mean protests like for the sake of protests. I mean protests like a peaceful demonstration, also to wear awareness of many themes that maybe are going under the surface and then can be explained and also raise the problem to which may be concerned about it. And now we enter in the final part of my essay. In the third part is innovating by enhanced societal engagement. And in addition to collective action and advocacy, I firmly believe that fostering a culture of innovation and collaboration is vital for universities to maximize their contribution to society. One of the first things about innovation that we can for sure think about is technology that can be very useful to bridge the gap between university and broader community, as I said, for tackling problem and also creating seamless collaboration and knowledge sharing based that so we can transcend the barriers of the physical space of our campuses and create more unified knowledge for everyone, also to mix ideas and everything. And also can be interesting the prospect of creating partnership between different communities. So we have said to make more real contribution and to give the possibility to students to gain first-hand experience in addressing real-world issues. Another aspect that is really important for me, also because I take part in the past in this type of activity and I'm still part of it, is the entrepreneurship and social innovation within the university. That could be very useful, also could be very helpful if the university creates spaces dedicated to these type of things. For example, my university has a big space to it with festival and everything. And also I suggest to create incubator, mentorship programs and funding opportunity for students to create new solutions for the betterment of our society as a whole. And then a good point can be the fact of institutionalize these type of efforts by making the MCU principle and sticking these principles to the institutionalized move, like for example, creating research-based program about these type of things, and also to foster a mindset and a collaboration that can generate also other activities within the university, like for example, create program and rewards and help students to be more active and part of the university life. By embracing those multi-phase approach, university can evaluate their role as channels of positive change, diving into meaningful societal impact and fostering a spirit of collaboration, innovation, and engagement. Such action ensure that university remain at the forefront of addressing pressing challenges of our time, empowering students to become agents of transformation and guide society towards a more equitable, sustainable, and prosperous future. For concluding, as a student, we have a unique opportunity to exercise influence and enable our universities to make more efficient and efficient contribution to society. By evaluating university loyalties to the MCU principle, advocating for student representation in government structure, engaging in collaborative action, and fostering innovation, we can drive positive change and amplify university societal impact. By embracing the MCU vision and prioritize students' involvement, we can forge stronger connection between universities and the communities they serve, creating a more equitable and socially conscious society. Unifying our effort, we embark on a journey to empower students as the driving force behind university, transforming into agents of positive change, shaping a better present and future. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we're going to, perhaps, I think what we'll do is that we'll take all the essays and then we can now come to question after the other. So I think the next will be Pamela.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Now, let me begin by telling everyone that the University of the Philippines is one of the premier state universities in my country, and we are very famous for abiding two principles, which is honor and excellence. Now, we have this principle that it is our responsibility to continue improving ourselves and serve the nation with utmost patriotism. And in my first years of college, I have demonstrated this by partaking in a few protests on my own, maybe climate strikes, phase out protests, lightning rallies, Now, but unfortunately, for a university known for its student activism, there has really been a drastic decline of student involvement. Now, for nearly a decade now, there has been a dismal turnout of campus elections in my university. In fact, the numbers are barely breaching half the student body population. And unfortunately, this isn't an isolated case because this is something studies have shown that is happening worldwide. Now, this fear of participating in student action actually stems from the lack of protection, lack of protection from our universities. Once we practice the values of honor and excellence outside campus. Now, countless of students have worked for, campaigned, lobbied, and mobilized different causes, but the fight against injustice and oppression, it's not something just to be left to the students. So the question now is, how do we achieve excellence when we struggle to remain a bastion of academic freedom? How are we expected to uphold honor into helping ourselves, then our countrymen, while the system leaves us for dead? So in my essay, which was entitled "The Rage Against the Dying of the Light, Reimagining the Reality of University Academic Freedom Towards a Sustainable Society in the Philippines." So I used the line from the very famous poem, "Do Not Go Gentle into Good Night," which is about fighting at every turn, and which is what essentially my essay is about, fighting for sustainable student action. Now, first, I addressed that to acknowledge the agency of students in creating impactful changes, it is very ideal to organize themselves for a common purpose. And this is where our student unions come in, forming a coalition. See, in the Philippines, there are really dozens of student organizations that exist within universities, and all of them serve very different purposes, agendas, and interests. Now, this often results to like a fragmented engagement, and it actually limits the depth of their involvement into the causes. Now, on this note, effective coalitions must give way to genuine network and support diverse exchange of ideas and resources so they can be able to reach a larger audience. Now, hands-on participation is very important, and this can be achieved through action-oriented obligations like providing manpower, because of what is very popular right now in this generation where we're in the digital age is marketing our events. We're more focused on marketing our events instead of being able to provide manpower. And it's important that coalitions opt to utilize existing university structures so they can accelerate the implementation of their projects and essentially spotlight them through non-academic and non-industrial platforms like the arts as a means for increasing student engagement. And this essentially leads me to my second point on how important it is to have university-wide flagship events, which brings out the essence of our institution's principles. Now, an event like this must resonate with the masses and of their lived experiences, and that this message is essentially re-echoed across our student communities. Now, in my university, this is one of our advantages. We have what we call the UP Fair. So it's a week-long festival that, and more than the music and the attractions, its core is to promote awareness of different social issues in the country through protests and help those people affected by it. So what's happening is it's happening for the entire week. So from Monday to Friday, advocating for education, the working class, national minorities, urban poor communities, women and queer communities, respectively for each day. So there's a different theme each day. And this message is actually being re-echoed across the people attending the event. And what's good to know is this is being widely visited by people in the Philippines. Now, this ties us back to what I said first about the multi-party nature of organizations, of having a coalition. So by using our differences, we can come together towards the same goal. But of course, more efforts should be underway to support students in their programs to maximize their potential. Now, if scholastic achievements receive scholarships, grants, and why can't social movements be regarded to the same degree? Now, while we have all of this, it still doesn't stop external forces from harassing the very students who only mean good. And this includes addressing the inaction on the attacks against student activists. So in the Philippines, there are numerous cases of unjust prosecution towards national democratic mass organizations. Now, these mass democratic organizations in the university are the ones out in the streets actually advocating for the rights of the oppressed. They're the ones demanding accountability from the government and institutions. But unfortunately, I live in a country where initiatives like this are being branded as terrorist activity by state forces, and this is very unfortunate. So to give a concrete example, what happened during the pandemic is that university students from the University of the Philippines actually came together to organize what we call community pantries, where local neighborhoods can give away food and they can also take food by how much they need. So these are student initiatives as well. But because of campus militarization and the baseless accusations on red tagging these students, it faced temporary closure, unfortunately. And this is why there is a need to establish clearer policies towards any form of harassment on students' initiatives, their political stance, and essentially their privacy, violation of their privacy. And this can only be possible if universities will allow employing legal assistance to protect the rights of these students. University administrators should have a mission of building trust and demonstrating accountability on protecting its students. You see, in the end, a university is only good as its constituents. Now, taking into consideration the socioeconomic disparities present in a developing country like the Philippines, what we must do is re-energize the bond between universities and its student body by acknowledging that there must be cooperation to build social momentum and commitment into serving the nation. Society's progress can only be achieved by fostering an environment where students who serve the country can also become partners towards meaningful progress. And let me go back to essentially the two principles that I was emphasizing, honor and excellence. In the end, these aren't just an act, but habits we must persevere for. And we must keep the fire burning to be the torch that light up the future. That will be all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pamela. So next will be Jason.
Thank you so much. So my winning essay title is called Catalyst for Change, Empowering International Students in Poland and in the Philippines to Shape the Future of the University Engagement. In today's dynamic and interconnected world, universities hold tremendous responsibilities to not only educate and inspire, but also to actively engage with the aspirations and challenges of the society. As an international student pursuing education in a vibrant city of Poland, I have witnessed a transformative potential of every student influencing to enable universities to make lasting impact on the communities they serve. Guided by the principles outlined in the Magna Charta Universitatum of 2020, which recognize universities' duty to benefit humanity and contribute to sustainability, I am compelled to explore how international students like myself can exercise a greater influence to drive positive change within the Polish universities. This essay delves into a very critical questions of how students can use their voices, experiences, and collective power to empower universities in Poland and to ensure their effective contributions to the society. Drawing from my personal narratives comparing the approaches of Polish and Philippine universities, analyzing their government structures, and examining the practical implementations of these principles by professors and administrators, we will uncover the strategies and heartfelt experiences that have shaped my own journey as a student advocate. Together, we will going to explore the methods and approaches employed by international students, whether through student unions, group collaborations, and active participations in strategic processes, meaningful class activities, or even a peaceful protest, to enable universities to achieve the vision set forth by the MCU. Furthermore, we're also going to dive into the broader scope of the university involvement, discussions of the additional steps that can be taken to foster a stronger relationship between the universities and in society in Poland, while drawing their lessons from the Philippines and other nations striving to enhance their own social impact. Now let's compare about the Polish and Philippine universities' engagement with society. When comparing the Polish and Philippine universities' engagement with society, it's become apparent that both systems have the distinct approaches and areas of focus. As an international Filipino student studying in Poland, I have had the privilege of experiencing firsthand the differences in a social engagement between these two educational contexts. Now, in Poland, universities have placed a very strong emphasis on research and have embraced the MCU principles by actively engaging with society. They actively seek collaborations with the industry partners and engage in knowledge transfer, an initiative to bridge the gap between academia and the real-world applications. I have witnessed professors and administrators dedicating their expertise to the projects that directly address the societal challenges such as sustainable development, renewable energy, and social inequality. Through my involvement in a research project and class activities, I have been able to contribute to these initiatives that have tangible impact to the local communities. On the other hand, in Philippine universities often have more community-centric approach to engagement, meaning to say they prioritize understanding the immediate needs of the local population and strive to develop programs and initiatives that directly address to those needs. These universities foster strong ties with the local government agencies, NGOs, and the community organizations to ensure that their efforts are aligned with the community aspirations and challenges. I have been inspired by the dedications of my fellow classmates and professors in organizing community outreach programs, volunteering activities, and social entrepreneurship projects. These experiences have allowed me to witness a transformative power of a community-university collaborations. However, it is very essential to acknowledge that both systems have their strengths and areas for improvement. Polish universities could benefit from adopting a more community-oriented approach, placing a greater emphasis on the understanding of the needs and aspirations of the local populations. This could be achieved through a closer partnerships with the community organizations and active involvement in the grassroots initiatives. Similarly, the Philippine universities can further enhance their research capabilities and promote a culture of academic excellence by fostering collaborations with the international institutions, encouraging faculty exchange programs, and investing in the state-of-the-art research facilities. As an international student, I have strived to bridge the gap between these two approaches by integrating the best practice of these both systems, by actively participating in student unions, engaging in the class activities, and collaborating with my classmates on the community-driven projects. I have been able to bring a unique perspective in the table. Through this dialogue of the exchange of ideas, I have encouraged my Polish counterparts to consider the importance of community engagement while sharing the research-focused mindset prevalent in the Polish universities with my Filipino peers. By blending the strengths of both systems and fostering a cross-cultural collaborations, international Filipino students like myself have the opportunity to make a significant impact to the university's societal contributions. By sharing our experience, engaging in a meaningful dialogues, and promoting the exchange of best practices, we can enable universities in both Poland and the Philippines to enhance their engagement with society, fostering a culture of sustainable development, social responsibility, and meaningful change. Now here comes the methods and approaches to enable universities in Poland. As international Filipino students studying in Poland, I have actively searched for methods and approaches to enable my universities to contribute more effectively to society. The joining of the student unions, such as the International Student Camaraderie, has been instrumental in providing a platform for collective advocacy. Through this student union, we amplify international student voices and advocate for their initiatives for social engagement. These involvements will allow us to address the pressing social issues and raise awareness within the university community. In addition, actively participating in the university's strategic processes had been a transformative experience on my part. Serving in the university's committees and working closely with professors and administrators has given me the opportunities to voice the student perspective and contribute to the decision-making processes. This involvement ensures that international students have a seat at the table and their viewpoints are being considered when shaping university policies and initiatives. Now, we came from the suggesting more steps to enhance university engagement. Well, Polish universities and Philippine universities have made commendable efforts in engaging with society, there is always a room for improvement. I greatly believe that to further enhance the university engagement and enable them to make more effective to contribute to the society, the following steps should be considered. First of all, strengthen the community partnerships. Universities should actively seek partnerships with the local communities, NGOs, government agencies, and industry stakeholders. By fostering these strong collaborative relationships, universities can better understand the needs and aspirations of the community they serve. Second of all, expand the experimental learning opportunities, meaning to say universities should provide students with ample opportunities to engage in experiential learning such as internships, fieldwork, and even like service learning programs. These experiences will allow the students to apply their knowledge in a real-world settings and collaborate with the community members and gain a deeper understanding on the societal challenges. Thirdly, we need to promote an interdisciplinary collaboration. Encouraging the interdisciplinary collaborations among students, faculties, and researchers can lead to innovative solutions and holistic approach to societal challenges. And fourthly, we need to establish a social innovation hubs, meaning to say universities, both Poland and Philippines, can establish a dedicated spaces or centers that serves as hubs for social innovation and entrepreneurship. Fourthly, we have also here that embed social responsibility in the curriculum, meaning to say universities should integrate a social responsibility and sustainable development principles into the curriculum across the various disciplines. This can be achieved through a dedicated courses, modules, or even a project-based learning that expose students to a real-world settings and challenges and encourage them to create a critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And lastly, embrace technology and digital platforms. Now, in today's digital age, universities can leverage technology and online platforms to extend their reach and impact. This includes utilizing virtual learnings of environments, online community engagement platforms, and even social media to facilitate the dialogue, knowledge sharing, and collaboration between students, faculty, and even the external stakeholders. Now my conclusion. As international students studying in Poland, I am committed to making a difference and allowing my universities to contribute meaningfully to the society. Through my experience in the various unions, group projects, strategic processes, class activities, and even a peaceful protest, I have witnessed the potential for positive change through student influence. Although Polish universities have shown a commendable dedications to social engagement, there's always a room for improvement. By fostering collaborations, forging community partnerships, empowering students, and creating platforms for participations, universities in Poland can amplify their impact and inspire change within their institutions and beyond. On the other hand, the Philippines can draw on inspirations from these approaches and works towards a more inclusive and socially responsible university system. Together, we can shape the future of the university engagement and create a positive impact and that reverberates beyond the walls of the academia. Let us seize this opportunity to empower universities as a catalyst for positive change and works towards a more inclusive, equitable, and sustainable society. I think that's all.
So we're going to take from Diana.
Thank you. I present the ways of effective contribution of my university to the development and changing of society. Ukrainian education being under the influence of the Soviet heritage needs systematic and consistent modernization with the aim of all-round development of a person within the limits of modern society. One of the most urgent tasks in modern Ukraine, society is search for ways, models, and mechanisms to restore a unified Ukrainian society divided by the war. In my opinion, university should become a carrier, heritage, spirituality, preachers of humanism, values, rehabilitation people's consciousness after a terrible, unjustified, unprovoked war and suffering of people, especially children. However, the main indicator of the activity of our university is, in our opinion, a competent graduate, his competitiveness in the labor market, high civic qualities, desire to work for the benefit of the state and its people. As students, we have unique community opportunity to influence our university, change it for the better, and create an education environment that meets our needs and expectations. Collaboration with faculty and administration is a nice aspect to enhance influence on university activities. Joint project participation in working groups, clubs, cooperation is solving problem and conflict situation are the ways students can influence of the university development. It is also necessary to widely use international cooperation, which is an integral part of the university life and the development within the framework of the unified process, the integration of higher education of Ukrainian into the world system of higher education. The main achievements of the faculty and student staff of the Faculty of International Cooperation is recent years as a revival of cooperation with international education institutions, the organization of internships, professional development, participation in various integrational projects, the use of international experience on satisfying. Educational, methodological, and culture educational work. Creating student platforms and groups on social networks will allow us to share ideas, mobilize more people and organization actions and events. We can run online petitions, highlight issues throughout blogs, vlogs, and media information. Is power, and we can use it pay attention to important issues. It is also important to develop leadership skills among students. Organization training, seminars, and methodological program can help students develop effective leadership, communication, project management, and collaboration skills. In my opinion, an important aspect is that students can evaluate cooperation with local authorities, public organizations, the business environment, defending the interesting of the student community. This may include joint work of project of social importance, lobbying for student rights, and improving learning and living conditions. All of these ways show that students have a strong potential to influence the performance of the university. Throughout the creation of student organizations, the use of student representatives, research and presentation of ideas, involvement of other students, cooperation with teacher and administration students can become real change makers. It takes forms, conditions, and ability to collaboration, but the end result is improving university environment for all students. The activities of academic of given children named Wunderkind, which operate at our faculty, as a promising direction for the involvement of student and teacher in public work. Faculty members are equality involvement in educational activities with displaced children who attend the academical. So such of families with children who were forced to leave their homes. Large part of such families found refuge within the walls of our university. These children experience psychotraumatic events, the horrors of war, had a difficult emotional and psychological state, the consequences of which will be reflected in their mental health, behavioral and ability to build construction social relationships for a long time. Many babies need special care and professional help. That is why they are given help. A friendly, comfortable atmosphere is created, teacher conduction, training, exercise for mental relaxation, yoga classes, and of course great attention is paid to those activities that are close in and interesting to children. Children sculpt, draw, contact, and play. In addition, students, volunteers of the faculty take an activity part in the volunteers activity of our university, where they had an opportunity to help displaced children. Is a children organization together from UNICEF and share their knowledge gained within the university walls. Therefore, I see the main way to enhance the efficiency of the university stems or contribution to social process in constructions, responsible attitude of students to study in purposeful activities of abilities for the social, especially in international with various public and social structures and organization readings for integration with European values. In conclusion, I am sure that students are an important part of any university. Our so-mentioned positions of knowledge and arguments, patience and perseverance, cooperation and communication with the administration and teachers. These are the key components that will help us change our university for the better. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Diana. So last but by no means the least, we're going to take from Christina. So Christina, please share with us your essay.
Thank you so much, Peter. It's so difficult to come last after such wonderful presentations from my colleagues. Nonetheless, for my essay, I would have done it in the structure of an open letter. I did a letter to the university administrations of the world, and I will just give you the opening, and then I'll go into the summary of my presentation, or rather my essay. So I started by saying that, dear university administrations of the world, as many of your university chapters promulgate, your institutions have a civic role and responsibility to engage with and respond to the aspirations and challenges of the world and to the communities they serve, to benefit humanity and contribute to sustainability. Moreover, as an act that most of you welcome, students may play an instrumental role in achieving this mandate. After all, we are the largest stakeholder within the university community that also boasts unique perspectives, energy, and passion that through strategic partnerships with faculty, administration, and external stakeholders may help transform our respective universities into more impactful societal change agents. However, As I outline the specificities of such an endeavor, I will also be highlighting the steps you will need to take to facilitate this. And these are the steps I would have highlighted in my essay. So the context of my essay, before I even go into the steps, is I reflected on how, and my lived experience rather, as a student leader, and if I dare say, a policy practitioner in terms of education, because as a student leader, I would have been given the unique opportunities and a number of parliamentary and governmental boards in my country where I've been able to actually create real education policy. So I reflected, or I wrote my essay from that context. So I started off by saying that when we're talking about the engagement of students or facilitating student engagement in helping our universities become more impactful in society, the first thing that universities must do is create an environment of accountability. And a lot of times we tend to move towards what should students do through their clubs and unions. But at the university the first step is how can students hold you accountable to fulfill the mandate that you have, which is to be of impact in the community. And I would have suggested that we need to have open channels of communication. And it can be very simple as student surveys, town hall meetings, office hours created to facilitate our engagement. And in the response, because where there's a right, there's a responsibility. So yes, the university has given us the right to hold them accountable, but we also have a responsibility as students, which is to actively utilize these channels to express our opinions, propose solutions, and hold universities accountable for their commitments to social impact, both on and off our respective campuses. And I would have specified on and off because social impact begins first on campus. We cannot claim to want to solve homelessness, hunger, issues of poverty, and you don't deal with the students on your campus first. When we look around many of our universities, whether it is here in Europe or in the Caribbean, we have students who need assistance with their tuition, with their meals, and the environments that they come from. They may need psychosocial support, and we don't cater to these students, but we pump thousands of dollars into big funds solving these issues in communities across other parts of the country that they're in or other parts of the world. But what are universities doing for the students on their very campus? So social impact must first start at home on campus. Then I move to the whole matter of students are not only beneficiaries of university programs, but they're an equal, indispensable partner. And I'll go further to say that they're also initiators of their own programs. So, and I think most of my colleagues here would have mentioned something similar, whether through the student council, through the student union, clubs, societies, etc. But I would have also added in my essay that one of the areas that we tend not to focus on as universities is the whole matter of how we provide technical and financial support to these particular bodies. Yes, you may say there should be a student union body, or there should be a student union president on the school board, or yes, there should be coalitions, as my colleague from Philippines talked about. But where is the financial and technical support that you provide to these students so that they're able to be responsible in the work that they do, that they're able to be impactful in the work that they do, and that you can have this, I would say, this environment of synergy where the students are learning from you, that they're partnering, and there's this environment where there's mutual benefit and mutual outcomes. So I think that we need to ensure that there is financial and technical support to these student bodies. And then I'd have also added as well that I find that universities at times tend to shy away from student-led campaigns. And I've given an example of how powerful partnership in this regard can be. So it's not just about how it is that we allow students to have their own campaigns, but how it is that universities can also support and partner on these campaigns. So during the onset of COVID-19 in my country, Jamaica, I would have actually gone on Twitter. I was student council president at the time, and I would have tweeted to the Prime Minister of my country.
And if you know Twitter, you know you can at a particular person. You write a tweet and you at the person. And I would have gone on Twitter and I'd have at the Prime Minister, and I said to the Prime Minister through Twitter, of course, that it's online learning because of the pandemic. All schools are closed. We're going to have online learning. It's mandatory. You need to ensure that we zero rate online learning platforms, which simply means that a student who go on to their learning platform wouldn't have to have Wi-Fi or data plan to access. It was a tweet. And I then went to my university and said to my administration, to the principal, you have a powerful voice as a principal. How can you support my tweet? I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but that's literally what I did. And I also would have lobbied different student leaders as well and other students across Jamaica. That tweet went viral. And because of that partnership between administration of my university at the time, which is University of the West Indies, not the current university that I'm at now, this was from 2020, and the partnership between students and administration and that tweet going viral, we were able to have, by 2021, over 100 online learning platforms being zero rated across Jamaica. And that intervention was so groundbreaking that it was replicated in other Caribbean countries, and we actually got a global award that year. I got an award, and Greta Thunberg that year as well got the same award. We both got an award for COVID-19 intervention and advocacy because of partnership between administration of university and students. So yes, there's power in student-led campaigns, but there's even greater power in student-partnered campaigns with administration. Also, student-led research. Now, a lot of time, I'm not sure what it is like in some of your universities here in Europe or in Asia, the Philippines specifically. But in the Caribbean, a lot of times, students who lead research lead as a part of their academic program. So you would need to be a part of a particular program that has a research component in order for you to engage with research. But the question is, if a lot of the solutions of the world is led by research, why aren't we allowing more of our students to become engaged in research even outside of their programs? So, for example, we have medical students who, because of their program, or even law students, because of their program, they never engage with full social impact research because it's a part of their academic program. But these students have insights, they have perspectives, and they also have other passions outside of the academic programs. So we need to have more students being engaged in student-led and student-partnered research that has social impact. I also would have gone on to talk about socially responsive and socially relevant curricula. Now, it goes back again to the core mandate of a university. If we're talking about social impact on students and university, we cannot just focus on clubs and societies and student unions as being this medium of impact. We also have to look at what are our students learning in the classroom. Are they learning how to change the world with the content that they're engaging with in the class? That's a fundamental part of it, because guess what? Even though we'd want it to be that case, not all of our students will be a part of 4 clubs like my colleague from Philippines. Not all will do that. But guess what? All will do a particular academic program before they graduate. They have to, right? It's a part of what they must do in order for them to graduate. So how do we ensure that the curricula that they're engaging with, the curriculum rather that they're engaging with, makes them aware of different social issues, have them interrogate the things happening around them, have particular dialogues, etc., so that they become socially aware and then later on, if not now, become socially responsible. So we talk about, for example, climate education. We talk about conflict studies. It shouldn't be that I have to be in this side of the world to know about what's happening with my colleague here in Ukraine and to have an opinion, an informed opinion about it, and may feel like at some point later on I may want to be of change if possible in my particular context. So we need to have a curricula that help our students to become socially socially aware and socially responsive. I will once again give an example in that regard. So Jamaican students were actually affected by the Ukrainian-Russian crisis because we had a number of students who were based in Ukraine studying medicine at the time. And when there was an onset of the conflict, students were trying to get home. Now, because of my awareness, because of exposure in that regard, I was able to work with other student leaders to put together a strategy to help my government get our students home. And we were able to interact with the embassy here, my country's embassy that's based here in Poland. We were able to get our students across the border, and then we were able to provide support for them when they got to Jamaica. So you're seeing where it's not just an example or theory. This is a real life example of how having that kind of exposure for students can be really impactful in the long run. And I'm coming down to closing. So I also moved on to talk about something similar as my other colleagues, which is about student government led initiatives. But I went beyond just the matter of having student unions on campus, etc. But I have seen where there is power in universities allowing space for our student leaders to also have impact outside of the context of the university. That was a little bit vague, I know, so I will specify it a little bit more. So what my university at the time allowed is they had this relationship where they provided legitimacy to the student unions. So through the financial support I spoke of earlier, technical support I spoke of earlier, having our student leaders on every important, or I would say almost every single board in our university, and communicating to government that you cannot have us give a decision without our student vote. The government in turn had to also consider us in every decision. Because the university says that they cannot give a decision without our vote, government in turn also had to see us, even outside of the university, as an equal partner in decision making. So for example, we have a number of education boards and education task forces and committees. And as a result, I would have been given the opportunity to sit on a number of government boards. Now, this is external to the university. So when we had the COVID-19 task force, the government task force that was making decisions in the country about what to do about COVID-19, student leader was on that particular government board. We had our first higher education policy. We've never had one before in our country. They developed a steering committee to develop that policy. We had a student member on that board. And we have other for example, the council that manages the community colleges, I sit as the youngest chairperson for one of the committees for that particular body, also a current student. And all of that came from a place of, because the government saw how the university treated us and how important we were to their processes, government in turn also added a lot of value and importance to our work and our participation. So in conclusion, I would have stated here in my essay, students want to make positive change. In fact, we are bursting at the seams with ideas and solutions to make our communities and countries a better place. However, we can only influence and assist our respective universities to make this change if there's a welcoming environment that institutionalizes our engagement and involvement. If there is any doubt left after my letter, please reflect on the fact that we can only transform the world around us through transformative partnerships, projects, and policies. I look forward to the change we will make in this world together. And I signed it by saying, a student committed on positively changing the world.
All right, so thank you very much, Christina. And once again, thank you all for sharing your essays with us. Just to make this a lot more interactive, I'm sure we do have a lot of questions we want to ask the 5 essay writers. And so I'm also told that we have some questions coming from online. Maybe we'll start from the room and then we'll take some questions online. So before we go through the questions that we have allocated to you, what we'll do is take the questions from us, if we do have any at this point in time. I've seen that we all took some notes along the way, and so definitely we're going to have something we want to ask, or perhaps even share some perspectives in terms of what they have shared with us, how you imagine that it fits into what we asked, and your general observations about the essay competition. So I'll yield the floor. If we do have any questions, we can take them, comments. Yeah, otherwise we're going to take what's online if we're not ready yet. Would you want to take the floor?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
I congratulate all of you. I had a lot of questions, but they were answered during the reading of the essays. And I think it's very important to hear from students, because I have learned much more things from you than other colleagues here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Who else would want to ask or make a comment?
If I may, I would like to
By all means.
your effort. I am from the same universities as Jason. I came here especially to hear you, because I think, and my comment is a part of all beautiful words I heard here from you. I think that the most important thing now and the task for the professors, I am a professor at this university, is to listen to the students. And I think that we have to learn how to listen you, and how to communicate, and how to use the social media to communicate between the professor, staff, administration, and the students. And I think that this is the first step to understand each other and involve the students in the real university life. And of course, it would be also very good to have you as our ambassadors outside the university, as a Christina, yes. So I think that it is really important issue, because anyway, the students are the ambassadors of the university during the studies and after, and especially after you graduate from the studies. So I think, so thank you very much. I learned a lot today, so thank you so much.
So we do have. Oh, you do.
I'd like to congratulate you all. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Congratulate you all. Those are really interesting essays and responses. What comes across really strongly is the value you put on community engagement, which is an area which is perhaps an area of weakness of some universities. And perhaps one of the reasons why it's weak is because there's often not a structure for funding or incentivizing staff to lead and assist students in community engagement. And I just wondered, from the experience in your universities, you may not know this, but do you have any knowledge of whether there is proper funding or incentivization for university staff to help you lead in these kind of projects?
Maybe I can start for my university and my background, what's happening. In my university, there is a program which I'm part of. It's called the Student Ambassador. And it's a really interesting program with events and also helping the administrative board to create initiatives and stuff. Although it's a quite recent program, but steps are going to be taken in this direction. So I'm very grateful about it. And also we have student representation into the governments of our university. Maybe this part of representation can be more highlighted from the university side, so that can be broader participation in it, but I'm quite happy with what is happening right now.
So in the University of the Philippines case, we're really big on being able to give back to the communities which are essentially funding our education as scholars of the country. And what we have actually is we have this award called the Ignacio Jimenez Award for UP Student Organization Social Innovation Projects. So what essentially is happening is from all of these activities, the different student organizations are putting out there in our communities. A lot of them are receiving incentives in turn for that. So, and it also comes with a special award for those who have created meaningful impacts, for those projects that have created meaningful impacts. And I think that's one way how our university is incentivizing our student organizations.
So that's how they're incentivizing the students, but how are they incentivizing the staff to be involved in this kind of thing? Because this is often where the weak point in community engagement.
Yeah.
Would you want to come in, Jason?
Me? Yeah, maybe probably a short answers,
Yeah.
because like I had experienced both like Philippines and Polish universities, but I would really want to say that I would highlight the Polish universities because they are trying their best to reach out to the communities. I am proud that our university, Brosov University of Environmental and Life Sciences, from the word environmental, so as a PhD student, we were given a startup project, which we, for example, the Bon Doctoranta, this is the startup project that as a PhD student can build their own project. And the purpose of this project is not just like building or starting your project to contribute to your research, but also the end point of this project is to contribute to the community. So for the staff or for the employees, I'm not yet sure because I'm international area, but I heard that not only that our university is guided by the principles of the MCU, but also we are also aligned with the sustainable, the SGDs per se, that we are aligned, all our research should be aligned in the SGDs, which is very beneficial, not only to the community, but also to the environment.
If I may, in terms of incentivization of staff, I know that for some universities in my country or even my region, the Caribbean region that is, you cannot get tenureship without some kind of community engagement as a staff member. If you want to be tenured, if you want to get certain promotions, you would have had to have proof of engagement, community engagement, and oftentimes they will also look at how it is that you have interacted with students. So whether it is the student surveys coming in about how it is that you engage in the classroom, but also how it is that you may have supported a student group, for example, or a student-led project or a student-partnered initiative. So that is sometimes taken into account in those particular areas. But students have also complained, though, that because a lot of times this information is assessed based on student feedback. So when they're assessing a particular person for a promotion or for some kind of advancement, etc., or incentive, which is not always a promotion, they will assess student feedback or they look at student feedback. But students have complained that a lot of times the feedback isn't really taken into consideration. So there is that discrepancy between what is perceived but what is reality. And then there are situations where there's not much emphasis placed on a particular staff engaging in that kind of way. What tends to happen is that staff may engage because of a research project. There's research projects and they may get funding for that particular research project. But unfortunately, I think you only have a select number of staff members who do that. So you have persons who write a lot. You have certain professors who publish a lot. And so they will engage in certain social impact research or social impact initiatives because of that particular reason. But then you have a majority who don't because they're not publishing anything at this particular time or they're not up for any kind of promotion, so they don't see the need to that. So I think that's a great question that you asked, because I think if we're really looking at how it is that universities are becoming more impactful as social agents, we may need to also look at how it is that we're incentivizing and supporting our staff members. But I really don't think we have a robust structure of that in the Caribbean. No, we don't.
All right, so you do want to Okay. All right. So there are a couple of things that, a couple of comments that have come online. And I think that for the most part, you have a lot of congratulations streaming into you. So congratulations to yourselves. And I think there's a comment from Lyra that sits within the context of what some of you have shared about. I mean, stereotyping, paralyzing student leaders for the work that they do. And I think that that's something that you rightly echoed. And Stephanie also says that in Brazil, 10% of the course curriculum has to do with extension and outreach. So students, by way of engagement and service to the community, actually forms a certain component of the curriculum. And I think that it comes back to talk about, I mean, what we measure quantitatively and what we decide to give credit to. So if we do majority of our outreaches and it doesn't have any cumulative value in terms of the coursework, then you realize that some people feel that it's not worth it. But I think that one of the things that we strongly argued over time is to put credits to the work that we do. So, for example, if you have to travel all the way from your countries, you may lose some aspect of your classwork. And to compensate for that, we will say that if this contributes to the society in some way, then there has to be a cumulative value of that we say that, okay, so we credit you with, I mean, that too as well. So those are some of maybe the things that have also come up in the charts. So just maybe coming back to us on the questions that we said we were going to look at. And I think that yesterday we looked at 5, and today just before I decided to condense it into 3. And my thinking was that the 3 sort of overlap at some points. But again, what it allows us to do is to listen to all of you based on the essays you've just shared with us. The highlights of which we want to document, because for what it's worth, at the end of this, we want to come to compile all of these things, put them together. The MCU, together with its universities, will look at how it can be implemented. And if we have an opportunity, I think because these are rectors, these are vice rectors, and if they buy into it, it's very easy to cascade it down into the structures that are there. So we want it to strongly come out and to be clear that these are the thoughts that we share, and this is what we imagine that we do. So I'm going to ask the same question across the board. So you gave us the strong perspectives as it came out in your essay. And I think that the other thing that yesterday we also shared was in between when you wrote your essay, I think was sometime in, is it May? Mm-hmm. And now, we've been overtaken by a lot of events. You do have the opportunity to, if there are departures that you want to reformulate your thoughts, or if you imagine that there are things that you strongly believed at the time of writing the essay, and today some things that you've been exposed to of newer conversations you have had around, if you imagine that there are departures you want to make also, by all means, please go ahead and then do that. So the question, as I'll ask it, would be, in what ways do you believe universities currently contribute to society? So presently, so right now we're looking at the situation. In what ways do you believe universities contribute to society? And the second part of the question would be, where do you see an area of improvement? So perhaps you could note 2 things, just so that we don't stretch the time. So you could note 2 things that you imagine that universities are currently doing that contribute to the society in some ways. If you're able to be clear in your thoughts about how this is, will be greatly helpful. And then you tell us, if you imagine that there's an area to improve also, we'll be happy to hear you share your thoughts on this. So I think I'm going to start this time around with you, Pamela. So share with us what your thoughts are on this.
I think essentially from what I've drawn from my essay is more on social mobility. That's how my university is able to contribute to the society. I mean, we all have these, we have lots of programs. And in fact, I actually left a very important part of it that I will mention now, because as my colleague from Jamaica said earlier, it's very important that we incorporate community engagement into our curriculum. We have some sort of something like that in the Philippines called the National Service Training Programs, and by implementing this subject, we become credited for the social engagement that we do. So we take this for 2 semesters or so. So that's one thing, my university implementing that certain subject. And of course, more importantly, what we have is also community engagement, where the outreach programs, volunteering, and partnerships with local organizations, they essentially address the community and the community needs and facilitate positive social change. So that's just from my end.
All right, so same question that would go to you, Jason.
My case. So I would always stick to my perspective when comparing two like countries, because I have both experience with the 2 sides. But I would definitely start with my universities, because I am currently in the field with my own universities. As I understood with my universities, we were very in line with our universities are also focused not only for individual researchers, but we are also targeting the community. Per experience, our universities are all engaging and collaborating with the tiny or like minor organizations, and not only minor organizations, that meaning to say we have like tiny, not tiny, but like student organizations involvement, like to connect with the community. So those student unions are trying to make impactful, like for example, such as like they do planting trees in the communities or reaching out to the communities. So this is very nice a start to to collaborate and to enhance or to reach out to the communities. And in the Philippines perspective, and I would say that in the Philippines we have the initiative like to put the curriculum, which is, we call it community public health. This community public health is in line with our Department of Education, which is the main purpose of this is to reach out to the community, trying to tackle the issues of the local communities. And I would say that if there's a need to improve in both ways, I would say that at least both, like especially in the Polish universities, I would strongly recommend that they should also input a curriculum that also target or help or seek like solutions to solve the problems in the community. I think that's all.
All right, so perhaps I'll just read the question again, and more also for Diana, so that you can follow it. I'll take it slowly. If you understand it, you tell me you understand. Okay, I'm going to take it again. So I'm asking, in what way do you believe universities can contribute to society? So what is the way that you imagine that the university currently can contribute to society? And if you can tell us some ways that you believe that it can be improved. Do you understand? No. Okay.
Peter, if I can suggest,
yeah.
While I'm going to give my answer, you can use the translate on her phone and at least have the first part of the question.
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
The telephone to Peter, please.
You can translate. I can translate in the English.
Also, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. We
I
are
also
translators.
yes.
We are in luck.
Very helpful.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to reply shortly. For the audience at home, we find a translator, so we are going to arrange what is happening next for the answer. So, about the contribution of the society of my university, I have to be honest, during my university career, I was lucky enough to have the chance to study both in the bachelor and in the master degree in the same university, in different campuses, but same university. And my university, as I said, is the University of Bologna. And it's very typical, like for Bolognese people, to have this real connection on the territory, because we are like in a region of Italy, Emilia-Romagna, where is very important the collaboration with one another. For example, we had many problems recently. We have a lot of rains and damages in the coastal area, and years ago we have a big earthquake, but our community is very strong, and also our university is a representation of this community. And we are able to shine in different way. Like, for example, in my territory, there are many realities also of entrepreneurship, big levels like Lamborghini, Ducati, and so on. And our university often collaborate with them with projects and many things. And also they are going to give sometimes scholarship for our students for making research that are combined between universities and enterprises. So yeah, again, my university does a lot of things in terms of community. You can also have a look on the website. There are countless initiatives during the years. And I also, like my friend, can find a comparison between another university, because during my last Erasmus, I was in the International School of Management in Berlin. And in here, the reality is very different. This university, ISM, has many campuses around Germany. It's a private university, but I didn't see this level of involvement with the community around. Yeah, there is a strong focus on the job placement. Maybe that can be useful, like many other private university, but action on the local community or online community, I didn't see that much, and I think that that can be implemented, like, as I said, in the innovative and interconnection part of my essay. And what can be done better for our university? I think that the main thing is maybe have more engagement from all the student community, because we are in a very big student community, for like decision making, or maybe propose project to do with summary or other ways of reaching all of our body of students, because it's very international and very located around Italy. So I think that this is important also for us to have a full understanding of what is going on and what our colleagues want in terms of society and in terms of university. Thank you.
All right. So, Christina, so same question. In what ways do you believe universities currently contribute to society, and where do you see areas of improvement?
Thank you, Peter. So, if you don't mind, I would like to say hello to my principal. I just realized that she said hi to me. She's supporting me from Jamaica live on YouTube. So hello, Principal Ainan. Thank you. So in answering the question, I think that one of the things that universities do really well within the context of my region is they promote dialogue and I think critical thinking. So they challenge the students to think more within the university space, like at my university at Norman Manley Law School, and as well as I think communities as well outside of the university space, whether they have, like, for example, they may have lectures or certain conversations, distinguished lectures, etc. So I think that's one thing they're doing really well. And I think, as my colleagues here would have probably mentioned before, also social impact research and community engagement. And I won't go into that too much because they have said it well. I think one thing, though, that I'd love for universities across the board to do better is student feedback. I'm not sure if you have this experience at your universities, past or present, but for example, we have particular assessments, and students may complain or they may want to give suggestions of how a particular program may be improved. And there seems to be this wall. There's this wall up between the administration and the students. And mind you, I will defer to say that I know that our administrators are well learned, and they have, through an iterative process, developed these particular programs and assessments.
But we have this language that we use among student leaders, which says nothing for us without us. So if we're the ones experiencing the programs, we're the ones being assessed by these particular programs, and our outcomes in life are determined by these programs, then I think we have the right to be able to give feedback and to be engaged meaningfully and to have that feedback represented going forward. So I think universities could do a little bit better in that regard, just to ensure that our feedback is taken into account.
Okay.
Diana,
would you be able to do your contribution now?
okay, Diana already write me. I can ask. And in your mind, she think the main role of university to make professionals, workers who work in love their work and who can work with professional skills, in really professional skills. And she want to say them really the important role of university to make an efficient employer ready to implement tasks in educational field. This must be competent person who can work in other country, maybe with other workers from the world, and who can help country with your decisions and with helps from partners in other countries. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much, Diana. So I think that, that's about the most basic, contribution that I imagine that universities can make. Producing graduates that are fit for purpose. Mm-hmm. So their fitness to the landscape and the context that they are going to fit into is about the most fundamental contribution as I see it. And I think that's what you've been able to share. So I think that we will take the second round of the questions. I originally imagined that we had inexhaustive amount of time, and I'm realizing that we don't. So we're going to take the second round of the questions, and again, I'm going to read out the question just for our understanding, and then we'll take a round of each one of us sharing your perspective again. So we're asking that how can students, both individually and collectively, influence universities to better align with societal needs. So now we've identified the ways that they contribute. Now we're asking that how can the students wield their individual power or collective power as to be able to influence the universities to align to the needs of society. And we're bearing in mind that we live in a society that ever evolves. It's changing, it's very dynamic. And for that matter, the way universities offer the sort of assistance or the sort of ways that they contribute obviously will change over time. But how do we, the students out there, individually and by collective ways, of course, we're talking about how we use our unions, how we use our organizations, groups on campuses to advance the influences that we can execute. So I think I'm going to start this time around from Christina, and I'll go the other way around. So, yeah. So
I think that one way in which students can, as you say, use their power, whether individually or collectively, to get the university to align to societal needs is through conversation, through constructive dialogue. And constructive dialogue, it comes from as simple as conversations that you may have within the setting of the classroom, having particular conversations within the confines of the curricula,
and then it may go beyond where it is that you have a particular campaign or club, society, student union, etc. And then through that particular structure, you're able to formally engage with the university administration, whether at a more localized level, like a staff member or a unit of the university, or at the higher level with the thing you call it the rector? That's it. Rectors, we call it principals, right? At that level. So I think it's, no matter what level you take it from, whether it's through a formalized structure or it's informal or even through activism like protests, etc., I think it has to be some kind of dialogue. I tend to remind my fellow student leaders that no matter how passionate you are or no matter how powerful you think you may be, with the student voices behind you, you still have to get your university to say yes. They have to say yes. So I think it's important for us to have constructive dialogue.
Yeah, so same question. I'll come back to Diana. Oh, she's ready?
Yeah, okay.
Fantastic.
Okay, and I try to explain. Diana think the students, it's the real power. It's power, and together we can change this world, really. And this our together works. Maybe. Do something positive change in the society, and together we can improve to the society, and we have unique opportunity to improve on our university, and together with them to opportunity on the societies, and for this, she think that we must to make maybe some groups, active students who can make positive changes for this society, and who have ideas for this for make these changes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, for me it was very interesting also the previous answer of Diana, because we talk about the professionality that needs to be aligned with the job market, and I think that very reflective of the fact that the university needs to align with the time that is changing, and our society is super evolving nowadays, also with internet and everything that is going around. So I think that there is really a need for the university to implement programs to be online of what is happening, not at a general level, obviously at a general level, but acting like on different categories of topics, because you cannot research everything at the same time. For example, a very useful thing that I saw that are going to do right now in my university, they are opening up like work contracts for students as tutors, and these tutorships are like divided in different aspects. For example, the other day I was talking to a colleague of mine, and she's tutor of internationalization of our degree course. So to look around what is happening around in the industries of universities, what they are doing, our competitors' universities, and how we can make like Erasmus cooperation contract with other universities. And this is like just an example, but I think it's very useful to have a look around, not only by the part of the staff, properly staff of the university, but also from the part of engaging with students that can bring fresh ideas and new perspectives. Thank you.
My turn. Thank you, Peter, for that very important questions. I would say let's start first with the single students. I think the single students can actually have a power. They could voice out. That's why I really agree with my professor that the key to have a better communications is to reach out to the administrations. Talk first to your professors. Talk first to the administrations. Your concern. So it's a very vital rules as single students, so that you could reach out and you could talk to your concerns regarding like improving the societies. However, I'm also honored to be part of our university, the Broswab University of Environmental and Life Sciences, because we initiated interdisciplinary team, meaning to say we have a classes that is part of our curriculum that not only in one field, like example, I am part of the science, and my classmates are also part of the engineering. They are part of geology. They are part of law. So we were connecting each other, and we were creating a better solutions for the community, which is a better options for us. And I'm so happy that it's my first time to encounter such a very big solutions that we could merge our own like knowledge and informations and create a very valuable solutions to improve the society, which is very powerful for us. Thank you.
And I think to tie what everyone essentially said, from what you said, society is evolving, and while society is evolving fast, so are the capability of students to adapt. So this is because young people nowadays are exposed to novel scientific knowledge, they're exposed to professional networks and media outlets, and when you combine this with a lack of bias stemming from any professional obligations as university students, it enables us to become important actors who directly contribute to university governance. And from what we're experiencing just from this session, all of the youth nowadays they're able to provide diverse yet versatile perspectives and expectations, which sometimes university administrators tend to oversee. And I think the youth today possess powerful communication skills that can be harnessed to mobilize diverse social groups and essentially civic and political engagement. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your various thoughts on the question 2, which I imagine would be useful when we collate all your views. We'll take the third one, and perhaps we'll take a latter one that obviously would look at ways that we can improve this exercise that we've done in 2023, but that would obviously be what we use to round up the conversation. So this question also is one that I would want it to come out very well, because it's going to form the key of what it is that we want to submit. So we want to know what are the innovative methods or approaches that you have encountered or proposed that students can adopt to enable universities to engage effectively with society. So what innovative methods or approaches have you encountered or proposed that students can adopt to enable universities to engage effectively with society? And one of the key things that I would want you to state, at least one of them, is that amongst all the methods or approaches, we want to know which one to you is the most effective one, so that in a ranking order we'll be able to look at which one is most effective. And so we can talk about peaceful protests, we can talk about various ways that we are able to catalyze our actions and to amplify them. Of key concern to us is to know which one gives us the greatest of the impact. And of course, if you're able to share with us the ways that you have been able to do this, or ways that you know that has been done, and then telling us that, okay, to you, amongst the various ways that we can organize, you imagine that this is the most effective. I think that I would appreciate if it comes out. Well, this time I'm going to start with you.
Okay, yes, perfect. In my experience, I can say that for sure, a very interesting organization that we have already in place in our university is the Student Ambassador project that is very big and very well supported by our university, and it's very inclusive, so we have a real representation over there, and it's like going bigger every year, and it's implemented, and they really take into account our ideas to have a direct access to the administrative side of the university, because the staff of the university that deals with it is in the same office of our rector, so the ideas goes around very fast and smoothly. And as I said in my essay, I think that this fact that this office is so nearby at the administration head and on the students it's very important to make the university itself more agile in responding of every situation that is arising from our community of students. For example, in my degree course, almost every student know that I'm one of the student ambassador, so oftentimes they came to me for a rising situation or making awareness of something, and I will report directly to the university offices, and this is a very smooth process right now. Before the 2018, I think, was the starting of this project, the things were very different and maybe a little bit more difficult, but it's years that in University of Bologna we implemented also a system of feedback on various aspects of the university, because this is very typical in Italy to have this power to manage public things with feedbacks of the people that are using these services, so they can implement. And yes, again, this is a thing that is happening for years, and trying to collect feedback about lessons, courses, university structures, or also maybe inhabited situations and many other things about the university life of everyone. Thank you.
Okay. So what I needed you to conclude with is to at least tell me which of them do you think is the most impactful on university policy. So, for example, if you have shared with us the fact that you think that this organization, as novel as it is, and the fact that you work closely with the administration, and you feel that because of that sort of initiative, this has an impact on the way the university has an impact on the community with the society. Are there any other possibilities? And why do you think that this method is the most effective? I want that to come out a bit stronger, so that in the notes that we're taking, we're able to know that amongst these possibilities, these are some of the pointers that have the greatest of impact. So if you could structure, for those of you who will come later, structure your thoughts in this particular manner. Yeah.
Yes, as I said, I think that is very important in addressing issues, and I would say that this can be the most important vehicle for our ideas to reach the top head offices and make real changes. Because, for example, one of the last initiatives that we made was Speak Your Multi-Language Mind. And this is very helpful to integrate our students' community, because it's not a problem, but it's something that is happening. The fact that our university community in Bologna is gaining a lot of international students right now, also because the university itself is scaling the ranking. So more and more people are going to come to our university. And these events like Speak Your Multi-Language Mind was very interesting and also very useful to integrate communities that maybe was not so well integrated at the beginning because of culture differences and stuff like that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason.
So I would say that let's go with the basic first, right? As a student, we cannot just go directly to community to contribute ourselves. Well, perhaps we could, but since we are aligned with the university, we have to go through with the process. But how we can go through the process? First, I think we need to be part of the university community. Being part of the community, how we're going to be part of the university community? First of all, you need to be reaching out. You need to be part of the organizations. You need to be involved. You need to be visible with the organizations. And I am so happy because our university, the UPW, are initiating this kind of solutions to be visible in the university. So we have called tutoring program. This tutoring program are a one-on-one tutoring program between the professor and a student. So what happens inside this tutoring program is that every PhD students have a concern and trying to voicing out, and their professors are listening to their concerns without judgment. This is really vital for every, not only for a graduate student, but also for the university students, that they have someone to lean on despite of the hurdle and stressful environment in the universities. And this is the first start on how you're going to be visible in the university. And I think I would say, if I'm going to rank it off, and the most important part that I would say is that working and collaborating with the interdisciplinary team. This is very, very important, because you cannot just work alone. You need someone who is also expert with this kind of solutions. Community is a very complex. It's a very complex and a very challenges to solve, because there's a lot of issues and strategies that you need to implement. So that's why working with an interdisciplinary team with this kind of expertise like law, working with the health, and working with the science, working with the engineering department, and then merging together the knowledge and the informations and create a better solutions. I think that's the most important part, that working with the interdisciplinary team is the key components that as the students that could contribute to the university community, and then after that to the community itself and society.
Sure.
Okay,
Pamela.
so I think I've already answered this in my essay, but I'll just reiterate about the university-wide flagship event, which essentially brings out the essence of the institution's principles. Now, as I mentioned before, an event like this must resonate with the masses and of their lived experiences, and this message is being re-echoed across student communities. So what essentially I'm trying to say is, one of the most impactful ways that students have been able to engage with society is through spotlighting community engagement in a non-academic, non-industrial platforms, and making sure they reach the grassroots level. I mean, as I mentioned before, in my university, we have the fair thing, where it's a week-long festival with more than music and attractions. Its core is to promote awareness of different social issues and addressing the problems with such as different themes for each day. We have the working class, national minorities, urban poor communities, and all that. So not only are citizens being exposed to the culture the university is offering, but they get to contribute to help these marginalized sectors. And in this way, university administrators are more enticed to support, because we are mandating our principles to the university. We are putting out there the name of the university and what we are, and the kind of community engagement we are doing. Now, to the point that this actually, this initiative has become a staple to us and essentially reflects the significance of the university policies and practices. So that's it. By spotlighting initiatives like this in non-industrial and non-academic platforms, everyone gets to have an avenue for their advocacies. So that's all.
Okay, so Diana.
Okay. And Diana wants to say that she also thinks the more effective way of deciding these problems and create academic platforms also. But because it's the most important, because now we live in the world in media. Yes, and we make students platforms group in social messengers and popularization our problem. In this way, we can attract attention people for problem and attraction university or problem maybe of students. And these active students make this active group and popularization some problems in blogs, video blogs, and media. And not only information is powerful, media is powerful too. And we think it's the more effective in our time. And it's we just popularization and maybe make some events. And events we can also translate it into the world.
Okay. Christina.
Sure. So what innovative approaches I have encountered or I would propose for universities to engage with society? So in my country, we actually institutionalize student participation in our legislation.
So the Education Act of 1980, it stipulates that there must be a student representative on every school board of every publicly funded secondary or tertiary education institution. So we don't rely on administrative nor political willpower for students to participate in decision making in these institutions. We actually have it in legislation, and I believe that's a very innovative, transformative approach, if I say so myself, because it means that at the level of the university engaging with society, they must include the student voice in that process, and the students and university administrations have to work together. That's a must. And how that filters down now in the local level beyond the legislation at the high level is that every higher education institution, whether it be a community college, whether it be a university, a technical or vocational institution, they have a student union, and that student union has a person who sits on the particular board, and you cannot have any convening of this particular school board. You cannot have any kind of voting without that student being represented. And I believe that that approach is quite unique. I'm not sure. I think it's very few countries in the world that have such an approach, or at least have institutionalized it in the country's legislation. And I think that our student bodies would be even more emboldened, would be even more empowered across the world if we had that kind of approach as well, Peter.
Thank you very much, Christina. So I think that we have adequately dealt with the three questions that we sought to answer at the start of the session. I think that we cannot leave if we don't take stock of what has happened in this year in terms of the essay competition. Given you're the ones that participated in this, we will want to hear from you what your thoughts are by way of what improvements you imagine can be made. Do you imagine that in a time where it's very easy for somebody to write an essay, we should reimagine a newer way, or perhaps add another layer to something like this? Do you think that we can include a more practical activity to this? We just want to hear what your thoughts are in terms of what you make of what has happened in this year, and what if we wanted to do this next year. And obviously, from what we understand, the MCU is very excited about the impact this has made, and by all intents and purposes would want to do this again next year. But if it did, it would want to improve it. And who else to take the feedback from than for those who have participated in it? So I think that in a minute, I'm going to do the rounds for you to share with us either a departure, some new thing you think we can add, or some observation you made that you imagine we can improve. So Pamela, I'll start with you again.
Okay, so in terms of improving the
improvements,
okay,
your observations.
So I think there's one thing that, as you said, in a time where anyone can easily write an essay, use technology to do that, I think one thing that you can't replicate, and that is being able to draw from personal experience, like giving concrete examples of what you have done, what you have seen. This is something that you cannot find being generated as easily. I think this applies to everyone right here now, because I think the reason that our essays essentially came out on top is because we are all drawing from personal experiences. Everything we know right now, it's not something that can be easily generated. So that's just from my end.
My turn, right? Okay. My turn. Hi. I was watching its own life. It's so cool. It's a break. So I would say that first of all, it's very privileged to be part of the top 5. So I'm so honored, and I have a huge gratitude to be part of these competitions. And it's hard to say, because in my own perspective, it's really hard to write, particularly because you have to think halfway what you have to tell to the world, because social media now is very there's a lot of misunderstandings, the way you say it, the way you write it. So it's for as a writer, I would say it's really hard for us to write, especially the topic that you have given to us. And it takes us a lot of like meditations. It takes us a lot of thinking, getting a lot of like informations, you know, and asking a lot of people. So I would say it's really hard, but I'm very privileged to be part of that. And I think the one way that the organization should improve in the next competition, which I really recommend it, and is that to you know, not just only maybe because, you know, there's a lot of like emerging technologies such as the AI, so it's so hard for, you know, to distinguish which is the one who's human to write this article or not. So it would be better probably if there will be instances that you meet halfway, like maybe there's an essay competitions, because you still needs to stick with the first part, like, you know, this is the pioneer and it will be a second batch of and it's still an essay competitions. Perhaps you could maybe have at least an interview a bit about the introductions of what you, and then asking a few questions with them. It would be better to consolidate or maybe to confirm their knowledge about what they wrote on their essays. It would be about fine.
Yes, so I was thinking about also at the moment and previously what can be improved. I think that the paper, the essay, sorry, is a good option because it's quite democratic, because anyone, almost everyone can write an essay, and also can be an interesting format, also a video diary about what was saying during the essay, because maybe we can highlight like personal experience into the video diary, maybe without also special cuts or special effects, so everyone with a phone can do it, because it's essentially important to us, as we have said, that education should be open to all of us. Also, the fact of participating in this type of project with means and instruments that almost everyone has, because otherwise it becomes elitarian, and that is what we are going to not doing over here. So, yes, this is my suggestions about it. Thank you.
In conclusion, Dana wants to say to everyone that she was proud and happy be too, and she can say that in addition, she see the main way to increase in efficiency to of the university in terms in contribution. So, but this maybe this maybe to improve the way improve we can just contribution to social process in the consistent responsible attitude of students to study, and purposeful persistent acquisition of abilities for them choosing specialty and international with various public and social structures and organization, readiness for integration with European values. And also she think that we must to do something. It doesn't matter what, because we just do. And when we started, we just see what method is the more effective, and we must to react on people. If you have a problem, we must to make some ideas how to decide this, and react how methods is more effective. That's all.
Christina.
Thank you, Peter. I would want the essay competition to remain as inclusive and accessible as possible. And if we believe that an essay competition writing is the most inclusive and accessible way to go, then I'm in full support of that particular medium. However, I think one component I would propose is, and this may not have to be a mandatory aspect per se, but maybe just something that you add as, I would say something that students can opt into, is how it is that you may want to possibly partner and or fund a real intervention that a student or a group of students may be undertaking. Because I'm sure that with this particular essay competition and the topics that we're looking at, we don't just want solutions in theory. I know Magna Carta want practical solutions and you want to see real outcomes. So I believe that even if not the next staging, but further on, maybe the next anniversary, when we have a big anniversary coming up, you may want to look at how it is that the Magna Carta may want to sponsor and or partner with students on a real intervention that has proven results in their university or community.
Wow. So I think that we seem to have shared quite exhaustively what our thoughts are about this, how we have participated, how we have been able to re-echo not just the feelings that we have as individuals, but largely I think that from what we also saw from the essays, it was a lot more consultative too. You'd see that, I mean, some of you had engaged with your friends, with your colleagues about the best ways that they imagine that, I mean, students can be involved in the university's attempt to be impactful in the society. Before we leave, I would want to give each one of us just 1 minute again, just to say a couple of words that you have to the MCU. What is clear is that this attempt was largely to give a much bigger perspective to the student voices, and not just to make it a checklist that is usually there, but to, in a practical way, find the value that your voice can have in the administration of the universities as they seek to reconstruct the societies that we live in. And so, and the fact that it went a step further to even say that come all the way to come and present it in your person tells of the magnitude and the impact that the MCU has for the students. So it's not just the lip service that is paid, but in practical terms also, it's shown by all intents and purposes that it really values your inclusion. So in just a word from each one of you, just to say a couple of words that you imagine to the MCU, and I'm sure that David and Co are going to be watching you. So just take turns to just say just a couple of words that come from your heart, what you imagine this has afforded you that opportunity, and just to say a couple of words to MCO. Yeah. So this time, Ernesto, I'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. So I will be very brief, and the fact is for me very important is try to find new ways for hearing the concern and hearing what is going around within different realities, because Magna Carta is a very big organization and is dislocated around the world right now. And so have the possibility and the perspective to really have ears on the street, like, you know, for really understand what is going on within society that maybe are part of the university in one way or another. And then only after hearing what is going on, really take action that is calibrated on which problems or situation arise during the previous phase, the hearing phase of what is going to happen and what is happening in the reality. Thank you.
Okay. So what I wanted to come out strongly was perhaps in my way I would have said I want to thank the MCO for giving me this opportunity. It's allowed me to share my thoughts, it's allowed me to share my opinions, it's giving me that space to, you know, that sort of line. Okay. Yeah. Because I think that for what it's worth, what we also want to see is for anybody who wants to do this next year to get to know how much this has been of immense value to you, but also to the MCU to understand that we also do appreciate the opportunity this has given us to share not just our thoughts, but the opportunity to also because mind you, it's not just an essay. These are going to really impact, policy at a very high level. And so the fact that that opportunity has been given to you, I strongly feel that you should be able to share just a couple of words. So yeah, just that, and then we could take it.
Yes, sure. For sure, I'm super grateful, as I already said, also to the Magna Carta University and the university here in Poland to take us during this period of the year. It's very important the part of taking part in the decision making, as I was saying in my essay, and I will suggest the same thing for the next year participants, because this is a big opportunity to really speak your voice and be heard. Like we were saying before, all the essay has been written, I think for sure, and you have taken notes of every situation that arises through the essay. So it's not just a matter of who is going to win, because we are here representing also your ideas, because we are part of the same project. So I really encourage you to participate in this format, because this is the opportunity to speak your voice and let your concern be heard by someone with authority position of power that can make a real decision and can make happen what your dreams and your concern about university and also the entire human well-being in our environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's my turn.
Jason.
So first of all, I would really want to express my wholehearted gratitude for inviting us here and presenting our essays. I would say that this is not just a presentations, but engagement not only for the fellow contestants or finalists or the winners per se, and also from the students from Ukraine, which we also engage from them, as well as the rectors or the vice rectors, and from the different people in the different institutions. It's a huge privilege for us as students, and it widens our initiatives and opportunities and seek a lot of information from those higher ups. So it's a very huge privilege for us for that. And also thank you for organizing the staff, particularly the staff, for organizing this event. This is really a one-time opportunity for us, and I would say it really changed us. Not only changed us academically, but also it changed us to be more powerful, to share the strength to everyone, particularly the students who are now watching and also struggling on how to voice out their concerns to the university and also how to be part in the community. So it's very nice for us to share it with you, and I would really and strongly recommend this event or in the future, and there will be more and more conferences that you need also to participate and to be aware what is the current trends in the MCU, particularly the principles and guidelines. So as we are here as winners in the competitions essay, we would like also you to encourage to participate in the next essay competitions, and it would be also a privilege. We want also to share our experiences. It's really a great experiences that we are here now currently with the fellow contestants. And also, we could also share it to you guys. So maybe next time you could also participate and also win in these competitions and be part of it as a family. Thank you.
Okay.
Pamela.
So I think, first of all, like everyone, I would like to thank the MCU for having organized this event. And actually, through this, I was introduced to the Magna Carta. And by the principles, just by reading the principles that this observatory is living by, the first thing that entered my mind is, why isn't everyone signing this? Why isn't everyone in this? Now, in coming from a country where student action, community engagement is really big on us, I'm very happy, I'm very honored to be able to be one of the pioneers in our country, to be able to introduce this observatory to them. And I think it's really essential that the universities in, not just in the Philippines, to be able to ensure the integrity and intellectual of the scientific work and institutions, reinforcing the relationship between the community and the universities. This is something that the Magna Carta has been doing, and this is something that our universities are already doing. So being able to get in touch with this kind of institution is a really big deal for, especially in a country like us. And I also hope that in the future that all of everything we have discussed today wouldn't be just simple theories, but something that we can apply to concrete situations. So thank you very much for everyone, and that's all.
Christina.
Okay. So I want to, on behalf of myself, On behalf of my university, the Norman Manley Law School, Jamaica, the Caribbean, I would like to thank the Governing Council for this opportunity to be able to compete in this competition. I think it speaks to the inclusion, the accessibility of it, that someone, I was about to say millions of miles, it felt that way coming here, but so many miles away, was able to compete and to be assessed and be declared one of the winners. I feel incredibly lucky or incredibly blessed, as we would say in Jamaica, to be among my colleagues here and to be given the opportunity to be here in person as well. I think my message to you would be, in the Caribbean, we are open to partnerships. We would love to partner, we'd love to work with you. And I know you're very much engaged with students already. You have ASU, that Peter is the president for, and the Global Student Forum, who are your student partners. But the student leaders in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, would also love to work with you, because we believe a lot in localized solutions being mainstreamed and being used at the higher level. So we look forward to some kind of future partnerships in that regard.
Diana.
In conclusion, Diana wants to say they really happy and proud be there, because it's great opportunity to take part in a conference like this. She is very grateful for such a warm welcome in Lodz. It's firstly, and secondly, she is grateful for such an opportunity, because she it's not such for easy. It's also it's a great meeting great people with great minds, with great voices, and she want to say it unforgettable skills and unforgettable experience for your future, for our future, our students who arrived. And I also thank you for this opportunity, because all of students, all of rectors or observatories say really great things, and we think that together we really can change this world. Just do it. Thank you.
Wonderful, amazing. So just to summarize our key takeaways, Julia is going to just highlight just a few takeaways that we have, and then we can bring the meeting to a successful close. So Julia, I yield the floor.
So actually, we don't have much time, but I wanted to start first thank you in the name of Magna Carta for being here, for taking the time from your studies, traveling. Some of you less, some of you a lot, hours and hours. I also wanted to congratulate you for being the winners, but I also want to congratulate you to come here and speak and have this, I think this power that, like, I think most of us in this room, the first language is actually not English. So it's a very big challenge to come and to speak in another language. You're thinking, and this is very powerful, and I would first congratulate you for that. Second of all, I think we had a very, very amazing experience, and you can be sure that Peter and I, we are going to do our best to go there and in the governing council and speak our voices also, because this I have participated last year in this coffee tables, and I have to say this was one and only experience to be here, to listen from all of you coming from different parts of the world, having different perspectives, but also sharing same perspectives as students. And I think one of the ideas here, I think Magna Carta, is to create a network of the universities, but the students are part of the universities and they are an integral part of the universities. So it's really, really great that we have had this. I think Martina had a very, she thought a lot, and she came with the idea and discussed. And it's very, very important that we continue. So I also wanted to mention 2 points that I think were mentioned. One of them, and when Diana was speaking, is the importance of developing leadership skills, because we are like students are the future. I think this is cliche, but also it is. And another thing that Christina mentioned is the curricula. I think it's always a very big challenge as students to balance 2 things. We are forming for a future career, but we are not just there to get a job in the future and everything. So the university has to include and favor a space for the students to engage with other activities that are forming citizens and are forming people and empowering people, and that can have the possibility to empower the community. And so I think the word of like social corporate responsibility and social university responsibility, it cannot be used as a greenwashing. It can't just be used as a way of universities to promote themselves. In rankings or anything. It has to be something that is actually true, and it's done for the common good. So I think that's all. And I really, really thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so would want to thank everybody that joined us online too as well. So for everybody who made the time to join us online, for every wonderful person here, technician, you've been amazing.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we'll have another opportunity to intervene. And just also to add a couple of words to say thank you to the MCU Governing Council. This really was something very huge. And thank you to Martina, who conceived the idea and pushed it, to the Global Student Forum that also facilitated this. And also just to thank everybody that has made this very possible. Carla, David, they all did the very amazing work in terms of providing all the administrative support that made this very possible. So we thank all of them, and just once again saying congratulations, and hopefully next year you have the opportunity to hand over to the next batch. So thank you.